This is an informational report regarding content of training materials for the Dominican Republic expatriates prepared for Mr. John Smith, Vice President for Training at Horizon Global Solutions, Inc. in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. This is prepared by myself, Layla Rodriguez, Kim Stecker, Trace Sullivan, Katie Taylor, and Genevieve Rusing.
The purpose of our presentation is that we studied the culture in the Dominican Republic in multiple different aspects. The purpose we had for this was to collect data to inform us about different things throughout the Dominican Republic, and it also allowed us to create different training platforms for our company based on the research that we did. We did some research into the difference in the concept of time, the dictation and communication style, and the utility issues in the Dominican Republic.
Concept of time. Punctuality is flexible. It is typically good manners to be late depending on the event. For instance, it's okay to be 15 to 30 minutes late at someone's house, 1 hour for a party, but for business, it is expected for you to be on time, but it is okay for you to be 15 minutes or less late, and it is not seen as disrespectful.
When traveling to the Dominican Republic, there are several cultural differences that can create a sense of shock for outsiders. One major area is communication. Spanish is the primary language, and English is rarely used, which may create barriers for some visitors. In addition, conversations are often fast-paced, loud, and supported by important nonverbal cues, such as gestures or facial expressions. Another difference involves the concept of time. Punctuality is viewed flexibly, and arriving late is not considered disrespectful, even in professional settings. Finally, visitors may be supervised by challenges with utilities. Power outages, water shortages, and internet issues occur more frequently than what many are accustomed to. While these differences may be challenging at first, they highlight the unique social norms and everyday realities of life in the Dominican Republic.
My name is Genevieve Rusing, and I'll be talking about the utility issues. The unreliability of utilities has become the norm in the Dominican Republic, even in the major cities with higher populations. Blackouts, water shortages, and internet disruptions happen so often that they've become a part of daily life. The water shortages are mostly due to the natural disasters that have caused problems with the water supply. Years of neglect have caused many inefficiencies with the electricity. Over 2/5 of all the electricity that is purchased is lost before it can even reach the consumer because of bad network connections. Despite Latin America being a region with one of the lowest rates of power outages in the world, in 2010 there was an average of 18 power outages a month in the Dominican Republic. Even though efforts have been made since then, power outages are still a major issue. This may be one of the biggest hurdles for expatriates who are accustomed to being able to depend on the utilities. It's important for these expatriates to be prepared for the inevitable utility issues and understand that it is a part of normal life for those living in the Dominican Republic.
My name is Layla Rodriguez, and this is our works cited page. We have 3 different sources that we found for our report. And are there any questions? And the question asked was, what was the most rewarding part of your research? For me, the most rewarding part of my research was finding out about the concept of time. I thought it was very interesting that you can be an hour late to a party, and that's normal. And I also thought it was interesting that if you walk into a room and don't acknowledge other people, then that is considered rude.
The thing that I found most rewarding from our project is getting to study another culture overall, and just kind of finding out some different information that I didn't already know.
The most rewarding part of learning about the cultural shock surrounding the Dominican Republic's concept of time was realizing how it challenged my own assumptions. Coming from a culture where punctuality included professionalism, it is hard to understand a more relaxed and flexible approach. But after doing my research, I began to appreciate their value placed on their relationships over a schedule. It taught me patience and how to be more present in the moment.
Any questions? My question was, what was the most interesting part about your research? For me, the most interesting part about the research was finding out about how all these issues have caused problems for the locals and not just people investing, and just the problems that it creates in everyday life.